Gora Goloruharam Goranga Gudatama Gopyata Kolpa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavaram Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachiya Dileka Kola Kahe Premananda Hemona Goranga Hridaya Dariya Boda Bhaja Goranga Kaha Goranga Laha Gorangera Namare Jai Goranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Pranare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yashaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Bhidana Padama Pumata Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavirapi Gopala Srikuryat Kripaya Jari Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitva Rishayustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathapta Brajabala Bapahimam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyahevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Nama Amrita Bharshi Bhaktra Chandra Prabhadvasta Tamo Bharaya Gauranga Deva Anucharaya Namo Namah Srila Narottamaya. Again and again, I offer my obeisances unto Srila Narottam Das Thakur. He is indeed a true follower of Lord Gauranga Dev. The nectarian shower of the holy name, radiating from the moon of his mouth, destroys the darkness of ignorance. So, hello to everybody today. Welcome to Hungary. We're near Eger and on Padayatra. And so we have the most beautiful background we've arranged very carefully with great expense behind us. And Radharaman Prabhu, we're going to speak, and you're going to try to translate for him? It's going to be hard for you because I'm not going to stop. We'll just go. You're okay? English? All right. So we're reading from Prem Bhakti Chandrika. In our last session, we started the 7th section or chapter called Akantika Bhakta Riti, or what are the characteristics of an Aikantika Bhakta, or a one-pointed unalloyed devotee. I'll go ahead and put our previous verse on the board so devotees can see that. Radha Krishna Koron Dhyan Swapanena Balaan Prema Bina Ananahi Chanu Jugala Kishora Prem Lakshabana Jainahim Arati Piriti Rasidyan. I'll meditate on Radha and Krishna. I'll not speak about any other topics, even in my dreams. I'll not hanker for anything else except for prema, for loving service to the divine youthful couple. The loving sentiments of Radha and Krishna are like gold refined 1,000,000 times. Therefore, on my mind, please constantly meditate in Radha and Krishna as your only lovable object. So this Yugala Kishora Prem, Lakshabana, Jaina Hema. This word Jaina means like gold. And I think that he's alluding to some verses from Madhya Lila chapter 2 of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we'll see how far we go in our discussion today, but we may visit those verses too. So Narottam Das Thakur describes in the first verse that this is the nature of an unalloyed devotee. They just want to meditate on Radha Krishna, nothing else even in their dreams. And then we have today's verse. Very, very nice. So again, there's two different versions of Prem Bhakti Chandrika that we're going. Bea, do we need to pay you some rent for sitting outside your tent and doing? Okay, so I'll show everybody. Let's see, this is Bela's tent here, their house. And she's very kind. We don't have to do a fundraiser to try to pay for our spot here today. She's going to allow us to do. So there's two different versions of Prem Bhakti Chandrika. Actually, there's quite a few. Small versions, differences in the wording or numbering. Some of the versions give our verse today is text 80. They just number all the verses. Some of them give it in sections. And as I mentioned, this would be the second verse in the 7th section. So, Jala Vinu Jaina Mina Dukkha Paya Ayahina Prema Vinu Sehi Mata Bhakta Chataka Jalada Gati Emati Ekantarati Jani Jai Se Anurakta. So Narottam Das Thakur, he then explains what is the nature of this Ekantaka Bhakta, this one-pointed devotee. And he gives a beautiful example. The word mina means a fish. Jalabina yena mina. Just like a fish that doesn't have any water, dukkapaya anuhina. It suffers without that water. So in the same way, prema vinu sehi mata bhakta. Same way that a devotee, if he's not experiencing, if he doesn't have Krishna Prema, then he's suffering. Chataka jalada gati, just like the chataka bird. Chataka bird is a very amazing bird. Some say it's like a sparrow. It lives in the sky, and it's very strict. It doesn't drink any water. It gets very thirsty. The only time a chataka drinks is when the rain comes, and it's so particular. It won't drink from a pond or river, and it'll only drink from water in the sky. That's the chataka bird. Chataka jalada gati. Gati means the goal. So jalada means to get this water, jala. So just like the chataka bird only wants this water from the clouds. Ain mata ekanta rati, jani jay se anurakta. So the anurakta bhaktas, this is their mood. They're so very, very one-pointed. This is an extremely important subject in front of us today. We've been speaking some things recently about the difference between Sudha Bhakti and institutional presentations, even of Bhakti, which are more institutional by their nature than they are perhaps in pure Bhakti. So this is part of our subject today. This verse is very similar to another verse that Narottam already gave us many sections earlier in section 4 of Prem Bhakti Chandrika, where he said, Jivane marane gati. He's the same word, gati, the goal. Jivane marane gati. In life, jivane, or marane, in death. Gati, Radha Krishna Pranapati. My only goal is to have Radha and Krishna. They're my only goal. Dunhara Puriti Rasasuke. And he says that I just I want to not just Radha and Krishna, but I want this Dunhara Piriti Rasa Sukhi. I want the happiness of Dunhara. Dunhara means bringing Radha Krishna together. This is Manjari Bhav. I want the happiness of bringing them together. Jugala Bhajana Ajana Premananda Basitar Ekata Rahu Mora Bhuk. He says that those persons who worship Radha and Krishna, do Jugala Bhajan, worshiping Radha and Krishna together, Premananda Bhasitar, they're always floating. And Premananda in the ocean of ecstatic love. Ekata Rahu Mora Bhuk. He said, now let me remember this fact. So again, now in the seventh section, Narottam Das Thakur is reminding us this is what our goal is. We're not such persons that we're Ekantika Bhaktas, but we should understand the nature of Ekantika Bhaktas. My Guru Maharaj, in 1994, in May 94, I was in the United States, and I was helping to prepare for his visit there the next month in June. And I had this great idea, like a great American idea. Americans have a lot of 1994. And so I thought we should advertise and promote Guru Maharaj in a better way. and that'll make things go better. So I thought, well, the new thing is everybody's really into what do you call them? Seminars. Thank you. And so we should advertise that Gaur Govinda Maharaj is coming and he's going to give seminars and advertise the subject, and then people may come, maybe get more devotees to come. So Guru Maharaj is very simple. I didn't want to burden him with this idea, but I thought I'll just make it real simple. I sent him a fax. This is before the time of email. And believe it or not, there was a time before email and WhatsApp and all those things. And so I sent him a fax, and I included a list. We put together some different subjects. Radha Prema is the goal of everything, service of the divine cup, different topics, and that he may like. And he sent me back a fax message with just like 2 sentences. He said, "This is not necessary. I speak according to the audience in every place." And then he said, "And I only speak on one topic, Krishna Prema." So the Bhagavatam describes in the second canto, in the Mula Shlokas, it says, Anvayavyate Reka Byam Yat Sarvata Sarvada, that the whole Bhagavatam is really on one subject, directly or indirectly. Directly or indirectly, it's Prema Moya Bhagavata, Krishna Sri Anga. It's Krishna Sri Anga. The Bhagavatam is the body of Krishna, and it's Prema Moya Bhagavata. It's full of Krishna Prema. So that subject matter, now you may protest and say, but in the second canto of the Bhagavatam, there's a description of the universal form, and in the third canto, it talks about time according to the atom. Fascinating chapter. But actually, Anvayavyate Rekabhyam, directly or indirectly, the whole Bhagavatam is really speaking about prema. And those other subjects just indirectly support it. You okay, Bia? Yeah? Okay. So this is also the purpose of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have our Gora Gayatri mantra, which I'm not going to speak out loud. But that mantra describes that Vidmahe, we're meditating on that personality, is Vishvambaraya Dhimahi, how he's Vishvambar, how he's maintaining the universe. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Adi Lila chapter 3, text 33, Kaviraj Goswami explains the bij dhatu, or the root of the word Vishvambar, which is Dubrin. Dubrin dhatura arta poshana dharana pushila dhari la prema diya tribhuvan. That Dubrin means to, the artha, the meaning of it is poshana and dharana. Poshana means to nourish, and dharana means to maintain. And so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's known as Vishvambar Because he nourishes and maintains the whole universe. And how does he do that? Doesn't do it with fighter jets. I haven't seen any of those since I was a kid in America. And they were always scary when those things go over. It's like, there's a war going on or something, it's a heavy thing. So, Prema Dia Tribhuvana. Future pilot coming out to see what plane was that. Prema Dia Tribhuvana. He maintains and nourishes the whole universe by giving Krishna Prema. This was the purpose of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we hear in the Bhagavatam in the sixth canto that previously in other ages, previous Satya Yugas, the rishis were chanting, they're doing kirtan. But what was the difference of Mahaprabhu's kirtan? It wasn't just kirtan, but it's Prema Nama Sankirtan. It's kirtan with prema. And this prema is such an important thing. And therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Anchalila, in the last chapter of Anchalila, he gives a very beautiful verse. Prema dana vina vyata daridra jivana dasa kori vetan more deha prema dana. It's a prayer that we offer every day. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, in one lecture in Gaudiya Math in 1936, in July, he gave a kind of poetic translation of this verse. Very nice. Life without love is useless and poor, they say. Appoint me in thy service, O Lord, with love as my pay. So Prema Dana Vina Vyarta, without the wealth of Krishna Prema, Jadraja Jivan, my life is useless. Das, and therefore, Dasa Kori, you make me, Kori means to make, Dasa Kori, you make me into your servant, Veta Mori, but I want a salary. I'm not going to work for free. Mahaprabhu says, I want some salary. What is a salary? Deha Prema Dana. You give me that Krishna Prema. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta commented on this beautiful verse. He said, we jivas are really poor, no doubt. We are poor jivas, but we're not poor Narayans. It's kind of a play on words because in India, some politicians that they said that there's Daridra Jivan, excuse me, Daridra Narayan, that Lord Narayan becomes poor and he comes as some ordinary person, which is nonsense. We don't accept that. So he said, we're poor as jivas, but we're not Daridra Narayans. To identify Narayan, the permanent possessor of all wealth, with a poor jiva is an absurdity. Our poverty should be diminished, and to that end, wealth should be accumulated. Wealth of what kind? It's wealth of Krishna Prema, causeless love for the absolute truth, Sri Krishna. And he says, our prayer should be of this nature. As soon as we feel necessity for Krishna Prema, we naturally begin to dislike everything but Krishna. In absence of this, other tendencies and consideration take a firm hold of our mind when we're not focused on Krishna Prema. These other tendencies and considerations take a firm hold of our mind, exhorting us, encouraging us to be great workers. Forgetful the main objective of the Pancharatra. Fakir Mohan Prabhu, I remember a wonderful sadhu, was my teacher for 10 years. My Guru Maharaj grew up with. He was born at midnight on Janmashtami, born in a Gaudiya Vaishnava family, celibate his whole life, amazing sadhu. He once commented to us, and he grew up in the Gaudiya Math, and he knew Gaudiya Mission, different branches of the Gaudiya Math, and he also spent a lot of time working with us in ISKCON. And he once commented to us, he said that everybody has projects. and there's the temple construction project, and there's the donation project, and the life membership project, and the book projects, and this project. But he says, where is the Harinam project? Where is the Krishna Prema project? So this is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is saying, that when we start thinking about so many different projects, then we think that we have to be some kind of worker to do this thing or that thing. And when we forget about the real purpose of everything. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, in Ali Lila chapter 17, there's a beautiful description in text 108 and 109 of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how he surrendered to his guru, Ishvara Puri, and what was his prayers, what were his words to Ishvara Puri. Tabe Prabhu Pradakshina Koriya Purire Prabhu Bole Deha Ami Dilana Tomare. So Mahaprabhu, Tabe Prabhu Pradakshina, he circumambulated Koriya Purari, he circumambulated Ishvara Puri. And then he said, Deha Ami Dilana Tomari, I fully surrender myself unto you. And then Mahaprabhu said, Hina Shubha Drishti Tumi Koraha Amare Jaina Ami Basi Krishna Premera Sagare Hina Shubha Drishti Tumi Koraha Amare. Please give me your auspicious glance. And so what do I want from that glance? So that Jaina Ami, so that I, Basi Krishna Premera Sagare, I can float in the ocean of ecstatic love for Krishna. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta comments on this verse, describing how some people, they think that the Trivarga, that Dharma, Artha, and Kama, they're the goal of life. Religiosity, economic development, making money, sense gratification. And he says, and some people consider moksha or liberation to be the goal of life. But most people are unable to ascertain what we may speak about later is the Panchama Purushartha, the fifth and highest goal. I'm not reading from him now, but I'm paraphrasing something. In contrast to which, these other four things are described as Kaitava Chatustoy, or four types of cheating. Trying to have some religiosity without love of God, trying to make money, have sense gratification. One of the first questions I asked my Guru Maharaj in Vancouver, Canada in 1993, I asked him, I said, what is the difference between someone who's chanting Hare Krishna before initiation and someone's chanting Hare Krishna after initiation? And he liked the question. He said, oh, chanting is so powerful. If you chant, you can get easily Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, liberation. But only if you're initiated, only if you're taking shelter of a devotee, can you get Panchama Purushartha, or Krishna Prema, the topmost thing. So let's go back to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. He explains in his commentary that to instruct people, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes a Jagat Guru, the guru of the universe, and he enacts the pastime of acting like a disciple, because he wants to get this love of God. And to get this love of God, it means you have to completely reject Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, so-called religiosity, economic development, making money, sense gratification, and liberation. And therefore, he's praying to Ishvara Puri, I only want Krishna Prema. So this is our subject matter today that Narottam Das Thakur was saying in the seventh section, seventh chapter, the Prem Bhakti Candrika, the nature of an ekantika bhakta, a one-pointed devotee. They're just like a chataka bird, only wanting to drink water coming from the clouds, just like a fish that feels unhappy out of the water. Bhakti is dependent on mercy. And if we want to get that mercy, we have to ask for it. And therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us, Prema Dana Vina Vyarta Dara Jivan Dasa Kori Veta Mori Deha Prema Dana, that my life is very poor. I don't have anything. Please accept me as your servant. Give me the salary of ecstatic love. So if we don't pray for that mercy, we don't get it. And Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sundarbha, he makes it very clear that devotees have to have a desire for mercy. And this is why in the last few days here, we've been speaking about loneliness, about the tragedy of being misunderstood, about hankering in the heart, about dejection and depression, feeling everything is terrible in this world. When we have those kind of feelings, then we can cry, we can pray. But if everything is good, everything's just fine, right? I have perfect health. Radharaman Prabhu, I have perfect health. Then we don't cry for mercy. But when we have some heart attack, we have some heart condition, then we cry, isn't it, Prabhu? We cry. So, oh my God, I'm my body, which I've depended on, is not going to help me. In the Bible, in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, there's a beautiful description. Ask, and it'll be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and one who seeks finds. One who knocks, the door will be opened. So mercy is there. Even the Bible says it's there for the taking. But the more intent, the more intent our cry is, the greater the quantity, the more taste we'll get from that thing. So the devotees, they're not interested in this Kaitava Chatu story. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, in the third canto, there's a couple beautiful verses by Srila Sanatana Goswami. I'll put these on the board here. The devotees can see them. Bhavanti sampadjodayena yasya sada mohanmata viteshtitani nayadvina sanjanayat sukham sa nava prakarapi mukundavati. So the verse refers to Navavidi Bhakti. There's 9 processes of bhakti. We know it from the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. If you don't understand what those mean, you should look it up. Hearing and chanting about Krishna, worshiping Krishna, etc. So he says, without prema, this is what I was wondering. Okay, we're going to... this is why I can't share online anymore, because we ran out of our paid Zoom. So our free meeting is going to end in 10 minutes. It's a bummer. So what I'm going to do then, I'll try to go back online again and have a part 2 for the devotees online. We'll see. Okay. So Sanatana Goswami is describing that when this prema, when it becomes mature, then the devotee becomes mohan mata. He becomes completely crazy. And he's just desiring it. And without that prema, even Navavidi Bhakti, the different 9-fold kinds of processes of bhakti, don't bring any happiness to the devotee. And Sanatana Goswami, you can see his purport here. But let's go on to the next verse. Yata hishako lavanam vinaiva kshudam vina bhogya chayo yatacha vinarta bodhad eva shastripata phalam vina rama gano yataiva. Without prema, the Navavidi Bhakti, the 9 processes of bhakti, hearing and chanting, going to Mangalarti, doing kirtan, all these things. But without prema, they're like having vegetables without salt. I remember once we went to the Netherlands and they asked us what kind of prasadam. Well, we're not feeling so well. And so they made boiled vegetables with no salt. And it was really disgusting. I'm sorry. And they really boiled them to death too. Even steamed vegetables are one thing, but these were boiled to death vegetables. So if you have vegetables that are boiled to death with no salt, you have a huge meal, but you're not hungry. Or in Vinad Bodha Eva Shastra Patai, you're studying Shastra, but you don't understand what it means. Or you have a garden with trees that you've been working so hard to grow and things, but no fruit comes. So what's the value of that? So it doesn't mean that we should not practice the processes of Navavedi Bhakti, but we should understand that this is not why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Mahaprabhu's movement is about getting Krishna Prema. Jiva Goswami in Pratisandarbha, in Anucheta 43, he says, Tasmat tat tad bhaktanam tat priti manorite evo padeya tadanyas tu sarvo pi heya ityaha. That the devotees should only desire prema, priti. Tad anyas tu sarvo pi heya. Everything else is useless. They just want love of God. And there's so many statements like that. But I'd like to go to Hari Bhakti Vilas. There's a beautiful description in the, probably we're going to have to shut down within about 5 minutes and I'll restart, so just be patient. In the 10th Vilas of Hari Bhakti Vilas, in text 62 to, I don't know, maybe text number 75 or something, Sanatana Goswami has a section which he calls Ekantita Chaturda. So this section of Prem Bhakti Candrika and this verse today is speaking about how the devotees are ekantik, they're one-pointed. So Sanatana Goswami describes ekantita chaturda. There's 4 types of exclusivity, of one-pointedness. Dharmana adarena, anyasarva nirapekshata, vigna kulat vepi, manorati parata, premaika rasata. These are the 4 types. Dharmana dharena. The exclusivity means they're not interested in Vanashram Dharma. They may do that, they may not do that, but that's not a very important thing to them. That's not their purpose, not their goal. We, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, as long as we're conditioned souls, we should follow Vanashram Dharma. But an Ekantik Bhakta has this quality, Dharmana Dharena, that he's not interested in Vanashram Dharma. He may do it, just like he may work a job because he needs to get money, take care of his family, take care of his body. But the job is not the purpose of his life. So Dharmana Adarena. He's not interested in Vanashram Dharma. The second type of exclusivity is Anya Sarva Nirapekshata. They're completely indifferent to everything. Anya Sarva Nirapekshata. They're not interested in fruitive activities, dry philosophy. They just want Krishna Prema. The third type of exclusivity, Vigna Kulatve Pi Manorati Parata. Very beautiful. Then when some vigna means problems. When these problems come, they don't lose their devotional attachment. They break bones. Their wife or husband leaves them. They lose their job. There's a notice in the newspaper on the front page, official news. Everybody in Budapest hates you. You don't feel depressed. I don't care if everybody in Budapest hates me. I'm not going to lose my devotional attachment. And the fourth type of exclusivity is premaika rasata, that the devotee is exclusively absorbed in Krishna Prema. And then Hari Bhakti Vilas gives some different examples of that. I'm going to go ahead and shut down right now. I don't know how this works when I'm on the free. Okay, Premaika Rasata. Premaika Rasata means exclusively absorbed in Prem. I'll show this on the board. Everybody can see this. It's really beautiful description from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Last thing we do. So if you have your computer on, you can look, Krishna Kun. Dharmanadari, and I do a screenshot of that. It's great stuff. Okay. So it says that I've got 2 minutes left. Maybe we'll go for another couple minutes, 2.5 minutes. Just be nice to your husband, he'll share it with you, okay? So then Sanatana Goswami gives different examples from Hari Bhakti Vilas of each of these 4 types of ekantic persons, one-pointed persons. Dharmanadharina, they're not interested in Varnashram Dharma. And Sanatana Goswami quotes a verse from the 29th chapter of the 11th canto, Agyaiva gunandosha mayadishtana paswakan. Krishna speaking to Uddhava, saying this is the best of saints, that he gives up his Varnashram Dharma. He's not interested in that thing. He just wants to worship me alone. And Sanatana Goswami also gives example from Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, Sarva Dharman Parityaga Mamekam Saranam Braja, that my one-pointed devotee, they give up all types of religion and they simply exclusively worship me. Okay, so you're all invited to come back in just another minute or two here. I'm going to shut down and restart. So please excuse, we're on this free mode right now, which just happened that this kind devotee sponsored us for a while and our sponsorship ran out. We'll start again in a few minutes.